All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're looking into a pretty intense situation, the alleged assault of an Indian journalist. And we've got these articles from DNA India and the News Minute.
Okay.
And it really seems like this story goes way deeper than just one altercation.
Absolutely.
It's got like all the makings of a thriller, you know.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a famous actor, Mohan Babu, a property dispute, and allegations of like this brutal attack on a journalist named Mupidi Ranjith Kumar.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
I think what's really fascinating here is how this incident kind of shines a light on the bigger picture of press freedom in India. You know, it's a very complex issue, and this case seems to be bringing a lot of those underlying tensions to the surface.
Right, and that's why we wanted to do this deep dive.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just a simple story.
Absolutely not.
So let's kind of start with that broader context. You know, India is known for having a very active press, but it's not always.
Yeah.
Smooth sailing for journalists there, is it?
Not exactly. You know, while India boasts a really vibrant and diverse media landscape, journalists often do face pressures, you know, intimidation, sometimes even violence.
Right.
Especially when they're covering sensitive topics or challenging really powerful figures.
Right. So this is not an isolated incident. This is something that...
This is, unfortunately, kind of a recurring theme that we see.
And that makes this assault on Ranjith Kumar even more significant.
Absolutely.
He was covering a property dispute involving Mohan Babu and his son at the actor's residence when things took a violent turn.
Right.
And the reports mentioned multiple fractures
Wow.
to Ranjith's face requiring surgery.
Gosh, that's serious.
Yeah.
The severity of those injuries, I think, is really what makes those conflicting narratives so striking. You know, on one hand, you have Mohan Babu's son claiming that this incident was unintentional, but eyewitness accounts and visuals suggest a very deliberate and brutal attack.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to imagine those injuries being accidental.
It's hard to see how that could be unintentional.
Right, and this is where that family drama kind of adds another layer to the story.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
The articles mention allegations of illegal property occupation.
Right.
And like some pretty serious tension within the Manju family itself.
Yeah, you start to dig into those family dynamics a little bit, and you see a history of disputes, strained relationships, and it really kind of adds fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
You know, it helps us understand that this incident isn't just an isolated event.
Right.
It's like a culmination of all these simmering tensions.
Right. And, you know, it's also interesting how different people have reacted to this incident.
Yes.
Manchu Vishnu, Mohan Babu's son, seems to be downplaying it, while journalists and media unions are understandably outraged.
Of course.
And there have been protests in Hyderabad demanding Mohan Babu's arrest and stronger legal protections for journalists.
Yeah, and those protests really highlight a very real fear within the journalist community, you know?
Yeah.
If prominent figures can just assault reporters with little to no consequences, it creates this chilling effect on investigative journalism.
Right.
Critical reporting.
It's a slippery slope.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder if this can happen to a journalist in India. What safeguards are there for journalists in other parts of the world?
That's the question I think everyone should be asking themselves.
Yeah.
You know, a free press is really the cornerstone of any functioning democracy. It holds power accountable, ensures transparency. And if journalists are silenced or intimidated, society as a whole suffers.
Right. And the fact that an FIR was filed against Mohan Babu, including charges of causing hurt, intimidation, and trespassing, really shows that the authorities are taking this seriously.
Yeah. And for our listeners who may not know, an FIR, or a first information report, that's the first step in the legal process in India. That could have significant consequences.
Right.
And I think it's also important to note that trespassing in this context in India would pertain to that unauthorized entry and potential property damage as well.
Okay.
Making it a pretty serious offense.
Right. But all this also raises questions about the influence of celebrity and political connections. I mean, Mohan Babu isn't just an actor.
No.
He's a powerful figure. So does this incident have potential political ramifications as well.
It's certainly possible.
Yeah.
This case could become a focal point in upcoming elections.
Right.
Or expose existing fault lines within different political factions.
Mm-hmm.
So Mohan Babu's actions and the subsequent response from authorities will be very closely scrutinized.
So we have this assault
Mm-hmm.
stemming from this seemingly local property dispute has spiraled into this much larger conversation about press freedom, accountability, and even the potential influence of power and fame.
Precisely. It's a stark reminder that the fight for press freedom is an ongoing battle.
Yeah.
Not just in India, but globally.
Mm-hmm.
And it compels all of us to consider how we value and protect those who bring us the news.
Right.
And hold the powerful accountable.
It's a lot to think about. Well, thank you so much for breaking it all down.
Of course.
And for giving us this deeper understanding of this really complex situation.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
And to all of you listening, hey, stay curious. Keep asking those tough questions. And remember the importance of a free press. Wherever you are in the world, we'll see you next time for another deep dive. Bye, everybody.